understand the things that we want. Why do you keep coming back? I want love you don't know. So why are you here? Yeah, I should take it back so that you don't know where my heart is at. Don't want you to know my love is lost. Oh, well, there's only one thing left to do. My heart is breaking, wanting you, so I'll say goodbye. Let's put the sun back in the sky. Tired of crying, don't call me back, just say I'll say goodbye. Yeah, don't call me back, just say goodbye. I can change the past, don't wanna complicate things. Maybe if I asked, was any of it real? Was it real? Oh, there's only one thing left to do. My heart is breaking, wanting you, so I'll say goodbye. Let's put the sun back in the sky. Tired of crying, don't call me back, just say I'll say goodbye. Tired of crying, don't call me back, just say goodbye. There's only one thing. Let's put the sun back in the sky. Tired of crying, don't call me back, just say I'll say goodbye. Yeah, I'll say goodbye. Don't call me back, just say goodbye. Let's put the sun back in the sky. Tired of crying, don't call me back, just say I'll say goodbye. Tired of crying, don't call me back, just say goodbye.
You say I'm not your guy. What's cracking? Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Can you hear me?
All right. I hear you good. I hear you good. Oh man, you know what we ain't doing in a while?
What's that?
Here we go.
You are now tuning in to TNJ Radio Show.
Now it's official, man. Let's get it on, man. Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. That's
Woo!
classic.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to pay
Yeah,
Rick
man.
for that, man.
That's what I'm talking about. You can hear me good though, right?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right. Hold up. Yeah, man. Man, those let's go in today, man. Did you watch that versus?
Yeah, absolutely. Good, good
Man,
stuff there. Shout out to New York.
right, right. Before we get into it, man, how was your week, man?
I was definitely a great week. It's the week after Labor Day weekend, so people are kind of getting to that point where they realize it's real. Kids are off at school, doing their thing, and it's back to regular life. Get the kids
Mm.
out the way, teachers get to teach. But I don't know what's going on down there. There's a bus shortage up here.
Yeah, there's a bus shortage down here too. I saw they're recruiting out here, trying to get some bus drivers.
I
See,
saw
I take my kids. Huh?
uh they had three
Yeah.
thousand dollar bonuses going.
Mm. Yeah, people ain't trying to work. They ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, man. They keep giving all these stimulus, man. People ain't trying to work.
Mm.
You know. Why do you think that there's a bus shortage?
Uh, you know what? I mean, the bus drivers they haven't been getting paid a lot in the first place.
Hmm.
Um, but let's be honest, man. These Some of these kids on these buses, they bad. They are bad. So you figure when you're dealing with bad kids, being there's no accountability. They can't really get in trouble or anything like that. That
Mm.
plus getting paid, $10 to $13 an hour, they're probably like, no, can't do it.
Mm. I hear that, man. Big
I mean,
up to all the bus drivers out there. We had a moderator, man. They was breaking up fights every week.
oh man, you haven't had to put your kids on the bus, have you?
Nah, nah, not at all. I take them and pick them up. You
Mm.
know. But I was on those buses, man. When there was a fight, nobody get off the stop. They just go right to the destination. Even the bus drivers start going through stop signs.
Mm.
I was there.
But you remember
You
that
know.
a couple years ago, there was that situation. I forgot where it was, but the kids was crying. The bus driver went and let them off the bus, which he was following the procedures. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
Ah man, the parents were out there. They were like, "Let my kids off the bus," and the kids were
What?
crying, and they kind of made it. Everything made it worse. The parents made it worse for the kids. They probably scared them, riled them up. But what it was turned out that someone on that bus was cutting up, and it
Mm,
was the point to where the bus driver had to stop the bus because of safety.
mm,
He couldn't keep going on. So the media only played one side of it. They more so just said, this bus driver's holding the kids against his will and shutting the parents coming and banging on the doors and stuff like that. But he had to call the police. So
I ain't see that, man. I ain't see that at all. Well, yeah, let's get started though, man. Let's get started. Get it started, man. And if you just get on, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, also hit that notification bell. We want some people to come on here who saw the show yesterday. We want some opinions to be on the show today. All right. What we got in store for what we doing today?
All right. Well, before we get into that, and I'm probably ruffle a little bit of feathers, maybe bust a little bit of thought of what people might think about certain things, but we're gonna talk a little bit about education. So before we get to the dumb stuff, this gonna be our short little education segment. So let me just take you guys back a little bit because it's 2021. A lot of people don't remember. Now, at one point, the United States was considered number one in the world in education for high school and college level. Now, this was a little over 30 years ago, and much of the boom in education, it was related to the GI Bill. We had the wars and things like that, and they had options to be able to pay for college reimbursements, tuition, things like that. Okay, you with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, today, the US ranks 38th in the world in math. And, we have a lot of low rankings when it comes to reading, science, things like that. And, we got topped by other countries, like Finland, Japan, South Korea, because, USA, we always, had this attitude like we were the best, like we were exceptional. But and most of these numbers I'm talking about, these are pre-pandemic. If you get the pandemic numbers, it's probably going to get pretty crazy. So the jury's still out, on that. But it's probably safe to say the U.S. isn't doing too good in the realm of education, right?
Right. Right.
Let's talk about when this downhill trend started. Now, in 1979, Jimmy Carter, his administration signed into law and brought in the United States Department of Education. 1979. They were made official in 1980. That's when they started operating. And that coincides with the United States going down in rankings as far as, being the top. Now, we actually did good in some metrics, at one point in 2009, kids had like a couple higher points in reading. But what we found out is that these countries that I'm talking about, over 20 of them, what they did was they actually did everything more efficient and better. So imagine if, the United States has this Ford, car from 1980, and the other countries said, all right, well, you keep on making those Ford cars, but we're going to just start making better cars, more efficient. That's what's pretty much happening. And you heard of No Child Left Behind, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a big thing there. That was signed into law by George W. Bush. And, it was actually done. They made a big deal about it. It was done at a
Mm-hmm.
school, at an elementary school in Ohio. And, but what it ended up doing was it kind of shifted the focus towards these different metrics. And a lot of it was based on the testing scores, to where they put a heavy focus on the testing. And somewhere along the line, it seemed like maybe the kids might not be learning, so that's actually been replaced. There have been some changes. There's the I think it's the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of similarities, and there's still a lot of reliance upon this testing. So those are some of the things, some of the backdrop of what's going on. But what we got to discover is, why is it that the US goes from, back in the 80s, number one, down to we're in the 30s in the world? And we want to find out your opinions. I mean, what do you think about that, Ron?
I basically think the government can't fix our problems. That's rule number one. They come in here, and who knows, they could be sincere about it. Obviously they're wealthy. They put their kids in the best schools. I think that when Bush put that in place, No Child Left Behind, people got around it. Because they basically threaten you. Anytime you threaten somebody, they're going to find a loophole to get away from it. The same thing you hear what's going on now with the COVID and different things like that. So I believe that they just wanted the funding. So they put in these testing. Every I mean, if you're a teacher on here, you can tell me a little bit better. But like third grade, then you have testing in eighth grade, and you have to reach these certain goals. And I just think they're not teaching them; they're just passing them along and getting them straight A's. I notice a lot of people, especially down south in these public schools, where they're um they're getting straight A's. Like a lot of these kids that don't deserve it, and it usually catch up with them when they get to college because certain colleges is not going to slow down for you, and they don't have the study habits. That a lot of people can't read past the fourth grade reading level. Especially in those communities. So I think when the government is pushing their agenda, and then the unions and different things like that, I think it's just a bad idea.
Okay, and we're going to keep talking. What I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to put, because I know that there's some teachers on here that are watching, and guys, take this time right now because this is important. If you know anyone who is a teacher or who does anything in education, an assistant, a daycare person, it don't matter if it's the janitor. Get them, send them the link, get them on the show. And if you know anyone that has kids, you know, that this is really important because right now, these kids are failing. And last year was probably one of the worst years. Like I said, they don't have the metrics out for it, but it's probably ugly. And
Mm.
there's a lot of people not happy right now, and there's going to be a lot of people who aren't happy whenever these kids go to college and they don't know what they're doing. They end up getting kicked out. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
get them, share this, get them on the line. And what I did was, I did post the link to be able to come on the show in the comments, but we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Go ahead, Ron. What you sipping on?
no, I just think, like I said, when the government gets involved, man, they think they could just throw cash out at the people, but you have to realize it's a difference when your home life is not right. Like like for instance, down here they have the kids read every day. You know what I mean? But and they bring books home. But what if there's no one there to hold them accountable? It's bad enough these lot of these kids can't eat when they come home, and no one's home and different things like that. And as soon as they go home, they're running out with their friends, or the single mom is trying to get them to football practice and different things like that. It takes a village. I mean, basically, you need to have that some type of structure. Who's feeding these kids in the morning? In the afternoon when they come home. So it's a lot that go into it, and you can see the difference when there's a house that's running. You may have a family that has a mom that's home, all day long, and they're able to make sure they got clean clothes and food on the table and different things like that. So that's just my thing. I just think the government can't control that. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rule. There's some people who don't have anything, and they're exceptional students. But that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And parental involvement, that's definitely huge. Um, my mother, she was never one to make me do my homework or anything like that. I was actually self motivated. But
Mhm.
what she did do was she always tried to put me in a position. I know that starting in middle school, my mother had decided, you know what, you're going to go to this Catholic school, this private school, where you'll be able to get a better chance at your education. And then after that, I think I ended up going to a magnet school in seventh and eighth grade. That
Mhm.
these schools really pushed me. Even in ninth grade, I was in for about 2 weeks. I was in what was considered a bad public school, but within that school, they actually had a decent science and math program. She made sure that I was enrolled in that. And when the magnet from the other school that was a whole lot better, where I spent the majority of my high school years, called, I was, on my way out. So my mother
Mm,
actually, was on these things. I wouldn't have even known that you could do all these things.
mm. Yeah, that's definitely key for that, man. But it's a lot. It's a lot to go into these schools, man. Or the lack of supervision and different things like that. Hold on one second. Got a message coming in.
No problem.
But yeah, man. We're
And
trying to get in touch with Fawn. Did you get in touch with Fawn?
he said he's gonna try to make it on. He's actually helping his son out. He said he has a lot to do. Elementary school, it's a whole lot different now.
Mm,
And it's crazy because they're working them harder than ever, but
hmm
it doesn't seem like the learning is going up. And that's where what you had said, you can't throw money at every problem. Somewhere along the line, it takes the parents. Let me read you something that one of these students had said.
hmm
Says, I see a lot of people saying they think it's the standardized testing, and that might be true, but I also believe that high school students don't learn because of how fast we move on from topic to topic. We get like 2 days to learn a whole topic. And if you didn't learn it, too bad because the next topic is being taught. So and that could be, the case in a lot of situations. There's a there's a lesson plan, but the question a lot of times is there a learning plan? What do you do?
Well, go ahead.
What do you do? And we're talking about the high school level. College, you get left behind, you left behind. But what do you do to be able to help those students?
We see you in the queue. Just give us a moment. Um, Now this is what I would say when it comes to public schools. I feel the some people do have to be left behind. There's usually like a few when you're dealing with a public school. There's not all, but there's like quite a few people who's there disturbing the class. You know what I mean? And they're just pushing them along. So every day they're acting up, and when you go to class, you got to worry about this guy going to talk about you. He's cutting up. He's getting kicked out all the time. Next day he's back in class. I feel like some people are just going to have to be left behind because you're taking away the learning from the people who want to learn when they come there. And that's a real big thing, especially with the school when I was in. There was the guys in there fighting the teachers and different things like that, and
Mm.
I just we can't continue to do that, go down that road. You know what I mean? There was actually, I heard this one school in Georgia, when the kids mess up, they basically told the parents that we're going to drop them off at your workplace. So needless to say, the bad kids decreased in that school, and their academics is really high right now. Kind of like sound like Joe, what's his name, Joe Clark.
Lean on
Now,
me.
what's that movie? Yeah, lean on me. Yeah, so I think the old way of teaching it should have stayed. I remember we was getting paddled, and they had this thing with it was called direct instruction model. I don't think they do that anymore. I would love to have a teacher on here to let us know about that. But yeah, we got to get back to the old school, but it's not going to happen.
Wow. Now, and that's definitely interesting. With the old school style, I came in at the end. I think I saw someone get paddled while I was in kindergarten, and you heard it. So
Hmm
I decided I didn't want to actually go down that route. Now, not saying that I know that in today's age, a lot of people just aren't going to be with it, but you have to be able to pick and choose your poison as far as what you want or not. So I'm not saying that paddling is actually the best way, but you got to do something and get some results. And the parent involvement, that's definitely huge. The fact that you have the ability to take your kids to school, on the daily, but there are people who, when that bus doesn't show up, then the kids just don't go to school. So
Right.
we gotta, prepare for those type of things. What are you going to do in those
Yeah.
situations?
Yeah. And also I think that well, real quick, I'll talk about it later. Let's get a caller on.
There, I got it. Okay, we have on line one. We have Veronica. Can you hear us, Veronica?
Yes, I can. Good evening. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yep. How are
Hear you
you?
very well.
Okay, I wanted to talk about just the accountability in the schools as far as the parents um and some of the teachers. So there's something in the schools called an IEP, and when your student has the IEP, it's an individual education plan that must be followed. Now some students, yes, they do need it, but it's taken advantage of because once the student gets an IEP, there's certain modifications that you have to make for the student, and it lowers the standards a lot. Like for example, a student, say his spelling list was 20 words, his modification, he might only have to study 3 words. And then on the report card, he has an A for the 3 words he studied. And it's like there's no like they don't raise the standard. The students will have this IEP for years and years and years. And the point of the IEP, it should be temporary. And the goal the parents should have would be to get them off of the IEP. Like they shouldn't be in special ed from first grade all the way to 12th grade. Like there should be some goal. Like, okay, how do we get them out of the special ed classroom? Because some of it is just if you really take the time at home or get a tutor or extra help, then the student will be able to learn whatever the subject is they need to learn. Because I often see that parents will put a whole lot of energy and resources into sports, but then when it comes to academics,
Mm,
they won't put a lot of resources or focus on the academics. And so then we put sports as number one and academics as number two, and then they're going around telling everyone their student, made on roll, has straight A's, but really they don't know much of anything.
mm.
Wow.
And that's deep. Sounds very knowledgeable.
so,
So,
so
Will, you got to ask a question?
they're pretty much setting the bar different from the other kids.
Right, right. The bar is set differently. And like I said, some kids, yes, they do need the bar, but eventually, like as a parent, you have to say, okay, I have to continue to raise this. I can't keep with the same, like if he had 3 spelling words or 3 math problems in second grade, it shouldn't be eighth grade and he's still doing 3 math problems, and you're okay with that because when the coach tells you he should do 20 push-ups, we're all gung ho for that. But then when it's work, it's like there's no standards, we're not trying to do better, and then the other kids in the classroom are just doing a lot of deep thinking with their work and doing a lot of intensive work, and then your kids, they're only doing the bare minimum. And I think the special ed teachers need to talk to the parents more about the reality of what happens when they're trying to apply to college or when they get to high school or when they get to middle school or when they go to a school that's not a public school, like a Catholic school or something. Like there's kids that go from a public school to a private school or Catholic school and fell out because
Mm,
it's just like it's different standards, and they should be able, if they're really getting educated, they should be able to go anywhere and dominate.
Mm.
mm.
Now,
So you're
Veronica,
saying
go ahead,
all A's are not created equal? Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. So if someone's walking around talking about their kid has A's, I mean that doesn't mean much nowadays because the IEP, the way they had a system set up, the parent gets paid, the school gets paid, it's all money. And so it's like they're putting the money in front of their child. And not saying that they're doing that on purpose, but I'm just saying they need to have a deeper conversation with these parents of what they can do. Like the IEP shouldn't be the first answer to everything. Like, oh, as soon as little Johnny doesn't get something, let's give him an IEP. And they do it for black kids a lot. Like it's a large majority of black kids that are in the special ed classroom. There's a disproportionate amount of black males in the special ed classroom, and you do not see a lot of white kids with these IEPs.
Now, is there a reason for that? Is there? Do you are you a teacher or you know someone who's a teacher?
Yes, I
Someone
am a
who's
teacher.
knowledgeable? Okay. Is there some white kids that you think deserve that, but they just don't get offered the IEP or is it IEP?
Yes, the IEP. I mean, I feel so, but it's like I don't know. I think it's just pushed on black kids more. Like, hey, get them an IEP, and like it makes their parents' life easier or whatever. But it's actually, in some aspects, not all the time, by hurting the child because
Mm.
you're not raising the bar for them and you're lowering everything. And then, like you said, you talk about the behavior kids. Say they have a behavior problem and they only have 3 problems to do, and the other kids are doing 20 problems. Well, what do you think they're doing with the rest of the time after they're finished with those 3 problems they've had?
Oh wow.
Interrupting the entire classroom.
Wow.
So, do you believe kids should be left behind, or you think in that Bush, what he pushed where no kids left behind? You being a teacher.
What I think is there should be more resources and more money spent on getting um, more support for the teachers in the classroom, more support for the parents, more academic resources, small groups. I mean, even if they were able to just put another teacher in a room, that helped tremendously. Just pull this group
Mm.
aside, and then another teacher can work with this group. I think the whole IEP. I mean, I've been teaching for years, and students with IEP sometimes they have a very low confidence about themselves, and sometimes when I'm talking to the parent, it seems like they have a low confidence for the child. It's like they'll tell their child, like, oh, well, this he can't do this and he can't, like, right in front of the child. They're telling the child what they can't do and they can't do this and they can't do that. And so when we're in front of the classroom and we try to motivate them and say, oh, but you can do this, like the child will say, well, no, I can't. I can't do it. I can't read. I can't do math. So
Mm.
sometimes it's at home. Like, what are they getting at home? Is there a growth mindset at home? If there's no growth mindset at home, then at school it makes it harder for us to try to motivate the children.
Man, I'm loving this conversation. You got a couple more minutes? We got a couple more questions to ask you. This is pretty good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, Will, you want to say anything?
Well, you know what? I was just thinking, all of this kind of reminds me of, ironically, George Bush. He was one of the ones who had said there's a soft bigotry of low expectations. So, Veronica, I guess, is that what you're kind of seeing? Is it like there's a low expectations purposely towards a certain group of kids, whether it's based
Yes, I definitely see that. There are very low expectations for our black and brown children in the school system. Very low expectations. And they'll, like, I mean, clap and applaud, like, yes, it's like the lowest expectations. And when you try to raise the expectations, you get fought. You get fought by the administration, the special ed teacher, some parents, like everyone. When you try to, like, raise the bar, it's very hard being a teacher right now. A teacher that cares, because some teachers will just be like, oh, whatever. I don't want to deal with the arguments and everything. So just, whatever it is, they get an A, that's it. but do they really deserve that A? And are their
Mm.
parents really aware that their curriculum and their schoolwork is so modified? Like, are they really aware of how they're setting their children up? And then I'll hear people like graduating from the public school, oh, my son, he can't read or he can't do this. And they try to blame it on the schools. But I'm telling you, during those 12 years that your child was in school, there was a teacher that tried to warn you, that tried to tell you.
Mm.
And it's like we get fight so much.
Wow. It's good stuff right here. Good stuff. Mm. Mm, mm. Now, do you think like affirmative action or critical race theory has anything to do with it? You know, because like you're saying, they're crying racism if they're not succeeding. You know, you may be paying attention to another kid from a different race or different things like that. You think it have anything to do with the
I don't know.
reason
I
why?
haven't had a lot of that. I mean, I'll just have, like I said, it's just like the first remedy that they find is just like, oh, enroll them in special ed. Like that's the first thing they go to, and it's like it shouldn't be the first thing. You know what I mean? Because it makes it, like I said, it's all money. Like if the school signs them up for IEP, they get money. The parents get
Mm,
money. It's just all money, and then in the end, it doesn't benefit the child.
man.
Now, I mean, if they really have a disability, I understand. Like if they really have like high level autism or something like that, I understand that. But there are celebrities, you can look it up now. There's celebrities with ADHD, autism, or like president. I mean, all types of people who are millionaires who are successful. And I often wonder, like, do the parents or do the teachers ever tell the students about these success stories? Like, just because you were labeled with ADHD or whatever doesn't mean that you can't go to college or you can't do this or you can't do the 20 spelling words instead of three spelling words. Like, I don't know if they're told these success stories of the people that have had autism or had ADHD or anything like that. They were still successful.
Wow.
Man, you're blowing me away, man. This is crazy.
I
Changing
think
my thought process. But
as
go
far as
ahead.
the celebrities and different successful people, yeah, a lot of them have autism, or
Mm,
autistic. Yeah.
mhm. Wow. Man, well, we won't hold you up too long, but we really appreciate you. Is there anything you want to give last words, shout out? Do you have any programs you
No,
want to
I
push?
really just, just want to tell the parents just to work with their children and really like raise the expectations. And your goal should be like the IEP shouldn't be like for life or for all 12 years. Like it should be like a temporary situation where the child eventually, moves on to having higher standards or having just more to do instead of less because then they get to the point where they don't even try because they're like, oh, I don't really have to do anything and I'll still get an A.
Mm,
You know what I mean? The parents should be aware of everything that is entailed when you put your child in a special ed classroom. And then, I mean, sometimes I've taught at schools where it's off the hook in the special ed classroom and they're not learning at all. You're thinking you're doing something beneficial for your child and they're not learning anything, but they're still bringing home that A on that report card.
mm, 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 mm.
Wow.
So what grade did you teach? Like, is it a variety of grades?
I've taught third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. I've taught several grades, so I've seen this all over, and I've saw of all the years I've taught, I've saw one special ed classroom that was really, I mean, she really challenged these kids, and she really did a good job teaching them. Um, and she was an African American teacher, and she did a really nice job. The others, like I said, a lot of behavior issues that were not put in check, not taking education seriously, and I just don't know if the parents know sometimes what they're signing their children up for.
Wow.
Now, who Is it like the counselor that introduced the IEP to the family, or how's that work? Or they just put them on there without family
Oh, yeah,
consent?
you have to fill out like paperwork and everything. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork that's involved in interviewing and everything, that goes into it. It's just not like, you just get it. Like, you have to have a lot of data points and everything. But sometimes, like, you don't want to just base it off of one test. Like, oh, they did terrible in one test or a couple tests. So you want to just make sure that when you make that referral, that you exhausted all the other possibilities and you did some other things to try to help this child academically before you just um, try to nominate them to have an IEP. And then, like I said, they need to just tell the parents all what's happening with this IEP. Like, okay, like let's try it for a year and then let's try to go back and see, is it working? Is it working? Like, are they getting better? Is this helping them? And then at home as a parent, and I am a teacher, but don't trust what the teachers are saying all the time. Like, you have to have your child read to you. You have to have your child ask them their multiplication facts, ask them division, have them write some paragraphs for you. You can see what your child is doing too. Don't just trust the school completely.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
Now,
that's my opinion.
is there a certain period of review? Is it like a twice a year or once a year? They're going to see if this guy's doing better with the program,
Yeah, so the
or with the
reviews I've seen, they
plan.
just like add more modifications, more they just lower it, lower it, lower it, you
Oh
know.
man,
Um,
this
so
is
it
depressing.
depends. Like, other schools might be different, but they lower the standards a lot.
Mm.
So,
Well,
Oh,
let me ask you
so
this.
just make sure you're checking on your kids at home to make sure that they are doing what they need to do academically. Just the parents, and if you're too busy, get a family member that that is, you know, into academics or a teacher or someone that went to college, and even if they didn't go to college, just someone that like, hey, can you check on my son and see how he's doing and give him just a little review, have him read to you, anything.
mm. I
Okay.
wonder because like I guess certain families usually have a tutor, right? To help
Not
out at
everyone. I
home.
mean, you could just have a older brother or sister or someone who does well in school that can kind of just like, hey, can you check and see, just look online and look up the standards and what they should know for their grade level. You can look up the standards for your state on what your child should know. And then like there's worksheets, there's all types of things. You could just quiz them and just see, is your school doing what they're supposed to do?
Mm.
Wow, this is good stuff, man. Uh, well, yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming on. We don't hold you up too long, man. But we really appreciate your knowledge.
All right, thank you.
That was dope.
Can you hear me, Ron?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, real quick, Veronica, you still there?
Yeah.
Um, what I was going to ask is this: at some point, it's almost like if you don't get it, you get it. What year or grade would you say is the kind of like the critical one where the kids need to get it or they're going to have problems?
I don't know. I think the formative years like that, K1, 2, like kindergarten all the way up to like eighth grade, I think are very important. Like when you're picking an elementary school, make sure you pick a really strong elementary school. I mean, look at the behavior, look at the teachers, look at the environment, look at the atmosphere. I think you need to look at that whole K K through eighth grade and look at what school you're putting your child in. Like, go visit the school, tour the school, ask parents, everything. And make sure what I used to do with my kids is every year I would like ask parents in the neighborhood, like, hey, did you have so and so teacher whose classroom is better managed? Or, and they'll tell you like if there's a teacher who's been there for like 10 years or something and they're like really good. It's like, oh, well, put your child in this class, and you would know, just ask around, and parents know because they've had their kids in those schools and they can tell you the teacher, the class to put them in if you can. Because sometimes you can call. I don't know if they do that anymore. But sometimes I used to call and I would have my child. I want them in this specific class. And ask your children how school is. Like when they get home, what did you learn today? How was class? Your children will tell you.
Mm,
Hmm.
all
What
right.
if you have you talk to your kids and there's a bad kid in the class and he continue to have a issue with a certain kid? What would you say to that?
With
You know,
that, just tell I would of course I tell my children just ignore, the child, make sure that you are doing your work, you're doing what you need to do. And then you could just like maybe email the teacher and let them know like, hey, there's a kid in the class and then sometimes like the teacher, we can't do much about it. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, but you want them at least to know that your child is having issues learning. Maybe they can move classrooms or something. But you want to have that talk with your children about what their experience is in that classroom. Like every day, ask them how was class, how was school today, so they can know, and then have a talk with the teacher or the principal about what's going on in the classroom.
Mm. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. That was dope.
All
Appreciate
right,
your
thank you
time.
guys. Thank you. All right.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, because I told the person to punch the person in the face next time they do something. Punch them in the face. You know, to say, hey, look that way. Pow. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Yeah, but that was really definitely informative, man. It kind of gave me a different perspective on things. You know.
yeah, especially with the thing with the IEPs. If they're, if you're lowering the bar for the kids, then what do you really expect? So whenever they go to the next level, that's where the whole one of the things where the no child left behind, was definitely affecting people because they were getting
Mm,
passed through at that time.
mm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think some of these kids need to just be left behind, man. What are you gonna do? Like you're sacrificing the intelligent kids in these schools. And one thing that Veronica was talking about was the location. Well, apparently, poor people got to go to the public schools. They try to use their aunt's name or whatever to go to another school, but that's a lot of people get in trouble for that. You know.
You remember a couple years ago, I think it was in 2017, on all on social media, everyone all of a sudden was talking as if public school was the greatest thing that happened in their life. They,
Mm,
it was like they were doing commercials. They were like, "Yeah, I went to public school and da da da," and it was so great. And I'm sitting there like, this is weird. Like,
mm.
you
I
know,
don't remember that.
oh man, I'll have to find some of them, but it was really weird. And I think what it was because at the time, President Trump was just coming in, and they were talking about doing school choice. So
Right.
the big thing, when if President Trump says it, then I guess for certain people, it's like, hey, let's just go the opposite route no matter what. And
Mm,
I thought that was really interesting because I'm sitting there like, people for years have been trying to use, like you said, their aunt's address or their grandmother's address to try to get into a
mm-hmm.
school. So to just act
Mm-hmm.
like, all the public schools were great, they weren't all
Mm-hmm.
bad, but you know,
Right.
we got to be honest about it. Some of them weren't the greatest. Now, I do remember in elementary school, I had a terrific science teacher. Being in fourth and fifth grade, I thought this was the biggest black man I ever seen in my life. Now, Mr. Shout out to Oliver Carter. Crescent Elementary. Anyone who went there, they know you hear that deep Isaac Hayes voice and you
Mm,
immediately stop cutting up. But every teacher wasn't like that, and in fact, most of them we're not like that. So at some point, we have to be honest, about what was actually going on.
Man, I remember I gotta put this school under the bus, man. It's probably not even there anymore, but I went to Wilkinsburg. I was in Johnson. Man, I was getting straight A's. And hold on, I have to block you out. Oh, you better some tape on there, man. Unless they're gonna pay you. Nah. But I was in Johnson, man, and I was getting straight A's. I was like rolling, man. But my sister was going to I think Turner. Is it Turner? And I ain't been in there so long.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, we transferred to Woodland Hills in '89. We came, man. That was the hardest day of school. we came home like, are we stupid? It's like, and I heard. I mean, there's a lot of. Don't get me wrong. There's probably some people from Wilkinsburg on this platform watching, but there was people from coming out of Wilkinsburg, and they went to college, and they were felling out when they got to college. It was bad, you know. So I know that they push people along for sure. Even down here, a lot of people in this down South Georgia, they go to the school, they're getting all straight A's. They're in the scholars program, and I know some students out there that went to college for the first year, and they're struggling right now. So, but that was a dope segment.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
It was a wake up call for me. Going from the public school that I was in over to the private school, and I remember to get high honor roll there, you had to get straight A's. So it was like, wow, I've been getting high honor roll forever, and then I saw that honor roll thing. I thought something was wrong with me.
Mm,
They had different standards there.
man. Yes. Well, real quick, man. Let's get to the dumb stuff now. Did you hear about this, Little Mo? Little Mo responds to Fat Joe when he called her a dusty bee. It's funny that we go into this from a nice conversation with the education, but we gotta hit the what's trending. You know.
Got to pay the bills, guys.
Gotta pay the bills, man. Gotta pay the bills, man. We gotta have the good stuff in with the bad. But did you watch the what you think about the verses?
Well, I mean, I'll say it was New York, basically. Everything, about it, that aggression.
Mm.
I don't know how many times Ja Rule, I think he put his shirt on, then took it off, and then put it on, and then took it off, but it was interesting. And
Mm.
now let me give them some props, okay? Because before actually before going back and watching, I had to watch the replay. Um, I was actually watching another show at the time, watching a sports show. I get off of the sports show and they're still going. I'm like, man, these these guys they still have longevity in them. Did you see
Mm.
that?
It's funny that you say that. 'Cause that's not what happened. Not what happened. What, what happened was Fat Joe was too fat, and he took a long break. They
Oh,
had like an intermission, huh?
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, if I could find it, man. He stopped it. Like, hold on, I gotta change my clothes, and then Ja Rule was sitting there like, yo, this dude, I'm wearing him out. I'm wearing him out. So he probably had to, take an insulin shot or something, man. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the heat. He was out of breath. Like Fat Joe, a little bad, man. Yesterday, in my opinion,
Mm.
I don't think his playlist was good enough. Like he got hits, but his playlist was bad. And then he had a bunch of these features. Like he had Nelly come out sing "It's Hot in Here." I'm like, I thought it was your verses.
Mm.
It was something else. Ja Rule put them paws on him last night, man. He gave it to him. I have to give it to Ja Rule. Ja Rule. I forgot this dude got so many hits, man. So many hits. He just kept on going, man. You know. Uh, but yeah, it was waste of time. 'Cause I wasn't planning on watching it, but I guess it was trending, so I decided to check it out. But I didn't like it. I mean, I thought it was like an R&B. I didn't want to hear a grown man singing all day. But Shanti came out. A lot of people was shocked to see her, and I saw Nelly go over there and hug her. Because they used to date.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but what? Go ahead. What you want to say?
Had to make the moves on the X, but yeah. So who was that? I think Remy Ma was there with Ja Rule, right?
Oh, Remy, man. Oh, she was killing it. She basically battled
Fat Joe.
Ja Rule, man.
Yeah.
They did that song. I think it was Deep Cover. I don't know if you heard that song with Big Pun,
Mm.
and she did the Big Pun's verse. Man, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can play. Give me a second. I want to see if I can play something real quick. What we're talking about, but so before I get into it, um, Fat Joe, he was getting beat up so bad in there. He just started talking about those girls, man. He started talking about like, you ain't paid them little dusty bees, and I was like, what?
Mm.
This dude Puerto Rican. This is so I was shocked that people allow him to do that.
Mm.
Because he is a guest to hip hop. He's a Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? But hey, well, let me see here. I'm trying to play it. If this is it, let me know if you can hear it.
Save him, bro.
Yo,
Joe. Yo, you have to bring Remy out to save you. You're getting your ass whipped right now on TV. This is fucked up. If you love real hip hop, make some motherfucking noise. New York, where the fuck you at? Hey, yo. You had to bring Remy to save you. This is fucking pathetic. You got all the other dusty bitches back there, John. Let's go. Hold on. Let's not go back. Hey, yo, check this out. Hey, yo, Crack. The fact that Remy had to come out to save you, I'm going to keep...
You hear that? Oh, he was out of line, man. What you think about that, man? What you think about him calling them girls dusty bees?
Man, well, that's why I say, man, like, he wrong, but I don't know. There just be that unnecessary aggression. Like they're tired of being crowded, and sometimes they don't get to say what they want. They just come out and say something like I hate you. You're like what? What you talking about?
Think they got Tourette's up in that mug, man?
Just trying to give you your taco. Oh, my fault. So, yeah,
Man, yeah. Fat Joe, he did bad. And another thing, when you in New York, the mecca of hip hop, you can't lip sing, man. He out there lip singing. They putting the mic out to the crowd, like, see you singing. I'm like, what is this? And then he tried to come in there with the Tim boots, and a lot of people say he looked like an astronaut online. I'm talking about Fat Joe, and he out there. He thought he was Jadakiss. You know what I'm saying? Like he had these little gutter songs. I mean, he had a great catalog. Like if he'd have played Don Cartagena, his first album, and different things like that. But he he did really bad, man. I mean, I ain't gonna say he's the worst versus battle. I think the worst for me was E40. That was a waste of my day, boy.
What do you think about this whole evolution of it? It's gone from the versus thing online. Now it's just a concert. You got Nelly on there doing his own songs that got nothing to do with Fat Joe.
Well, I mean, I enjoy it. Like I said, like if you look back from the Locks one, I enjoyed it. I watched that like 3 times. That was really good. There are really good verses, and I think it was good during the pandemic. So right now, most of the battles are pretty good. I think they had one that was old school. Was it Ron Isley and I forgot the person, Earth, Wind and Fire? That was good. So I enjoy watching it. I think it's a great concept. I just think like the New York rappers specifically, I think they have to bring it, man. Like you supposed to be MC. What I saw Fat Joe, he's not an MC, but he pretends to be. I guess he don't have any bars. You know, and Ja Rule did what he was supposed to do. He's out there singing, doo-wopping with the girls. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. And I think a lot of times too with the crowd, I think it's changes things because I think all them people was there to see Ja Rule. I forgot he ran the city for 6 summers, man. I forgot about that. Because 50 Cent ended his career.
But for a while, that murder run was, oof.
Man, they had the clubs for 6 summers, man, and then that was it. And he was a good artist, Ja Rule, even before he was singing. Like his whole first album, he was rapping on it, and I believe like him and DMX and Jay Z was supposed to come out with an album. I remember that he played "Can I Get a Wood?" That was like one of his first couple songs, but it was alright. I wouldn't say it was to be the best. I want to see KRS One go on there, or like Nas or somebody, or you know
Well, you know what everyone's been asking for.
Nas and Jay Z. That ain't happening.
Someone did mention that, but that ain't the main thing. People been asking for that Kanye and Drake, and
Now that would be long
mm.
because dude's gonna talk the whole time. Kanye. I don't even know if I want to see that, but it would be it'll be one of the top viewed. I would say Drake is dope, man. You better not sleep on Drake.
Well, the good thing is, I mean, they have long catalogs, both of them. So that would make a great versus. They said that one side doesn't want to do it. I'm pretty sure that that's Kanye. Um, at this point, he probably like, man, I'm doing my own thing. I'm not worried about that. I don't
Mm.
know. What do you think? You think it's Kanye that's ducking out or Drake?
I don't know because I know Drake wanted to battle. He wanted to battle rap somebody, so I have no idea. I know Pusha T want to smoke though.
Mm,
Pusha T want Drake, but he'll lose in the battle because he don't got enough hits.
right.
You got to bring his whole team out there. You know, man. Did you see that? What happened with Nicki Minaj?
Yeah. You talking about with her husband or something else?
Nah, she basically said on Twitter, she got this big following, and it's funny when people talk about big followings and saying certain things, and they're like, you can't say that because you have a big following. But anyway, she went on there and said she ain't taking the vaccine because uh, somebody that she knows took the vaccine and something happened to their genitals.
Mm,
Now, the government went in there and fact checked it and trying to find out who this was, and then Fauci commented on it. He made a comment said she was basically lying. So a lot of people coming after Nicki Minaj right now and saying, she's, because right now everybody wants good information in regards to this COVID vaccine. So anybody who's talking about it, they're coming after.
mm.
Yeah. So Fauci, he clapped back at her. You know,
Wow.
like he is. He's the battle rapper right now, huh?
It's interesting. The wordplay is amazing. Somehow they have conflated if you were against the COVID vaccine, then they use that word anti-vaxxer, and I'm sitting there like, number one, it's a pejorative. They're trying to use the wording to kind of shut down the conversation. Number two, just because I know plenty of people who don't want to take that one, but they do everything else. They do measles. They do what's that? The M, you know, tetanus, all that stuff.
Hmm.
Just because you're against one thing doesn't mean that you're against them all.
Yeah, yeah. So that's in the news. Hold on one second.
But
Oh, man.
yeah, Nikki. The other thing about Nikki, is that she's entitled to have her own opinion. You know,
Hmm.
um, I don't know, what exactly might have happened with one of her friends. I think it's hard to say, why she would lie about something like that.
Man,
Now
come on. Did you hear what she said?
what did she say?
I just told you. She said dude had got swollen testicles from taking the shot.
Mm,
Come on, man. That's BS.
wow.
It's not even that educated guess. Like, come on, man. That you got swollen testicles. If that did happen, it wasn't because of the shot.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But what I don't like about it is the fact that I think they suspended her Twitter.
Really?
I think they did. That's what I thought I heard that, but yeah. Yeah, so she yeah, Fauci clapped back at her, man. He clapped back at everybody, man.
Mm. So that's interesting. We have certain groups online that have that have Twitters, but once you have that type of opinion, you can't be on there.
Mhm.
Ain't the Taliban on Twitter?
Oh, facts.
Oh man.
They out there they out there showing their new whip, man. They're showing their new look at my helicopter. They stunting out there, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So what about this one? Did you hear about this? Biden proposed legislation that would allow IRS to have more information on bank accounts with more than $600.
Mm.
Look that up, man. Pull that up.
Let me let's see here.
Yeah, somebody told me that earlier. It's so evasive, man. They want to tell you what you put on your body. They want to look in your account. Man, we dating the government, huh?
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm
You see anything?
about to share it in a second. Let's see. All right, now so it says I'm gonna just read it. It says Biden's proposed legislation would allow IRS to have more information on bank accounts with more than $600, and so you got to think about this. How much do you have in your bank account now? Under this, all your transactions would be report. Wow, all your transactions would be reported to the IRS. This is going to
That's your
be
president.
ultimate invasion of privacy. You don't have any privacy anymore.
Yeah, they already let you know when you go on a certain website. You can't do anything. You just
Wow.
give your rights away on this mud, man.
And let's see. And this is part of the American Families Plan. This is from back in April.
Hmm.
That's why it's really important. A lot of these bills, okay, what they end up doing is they'll talk about the big thing,
Like
and then what
stimulus.
people do is they'll pack a lot of other things in there. So I remember on one of the bills that they had proposed, I think this was while Trump was in office, they were
Hmm.
trying to have like a digital dollar. You remember that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, they were trying to create a we already have a fiat currency. They were
Hmm.
trying to basically create a like a crypto for the dollar, which that would have been interesting because anyone who knows about crypto, the whole point of it is to get away from the centralization of our money, of our currency. So the U.S., someone had the bright idea saying, hey, we'll jump into that and we'll be able to still, keep them. Now, under this proposed legislation, let's see, the annual return, it'll report gross inflows, outflows, breakdown for physical cash, transactions with a foreign account, transfers to and from another account with the same owner. So, just think about that. If you got two checking accounts, they're going to be watching if you're transferring money back and forth. Also, that it would apply to not just personal accounts from your bank, but it would include loans, investment accounts. So your Robinhood account, all of that, they're going to be watching it all year, with the exception of it being below $600. Now, here's the thing. Right now, if you make more than $600, it's always been to where you'll have to, do some type of financial disclosure at the end of the year, whether it's a 1099, whether it's some other type of form, whatever it would be. That's always going on. But this is an overreach, and people should really be mad, because what they're looking at is they're looking to see your day-to-day activities. If you send $10 by way of Cash App, they're going to be looking at that. And what it's going to do is it's going to make more room for audits. And with audits, what they're doing is they're going and trying to get money back. And what I think is that since they've been spending all this money, that they don't, making all this trillions of dollars, somewhere along the line, this is probably trying to be one of the recovery plans to try to.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a plan to, steal the money. They used to try to, steal from just the middle class, but now, $600, you have people that might be in poverty, but they might have, $600. And that's the other thing. It doesn't clarify whether it says $600 on one day. The way a bank account works, they're looking at average daily. So you might be in a situation where you might not even have any money left, but because you got a big deposit, maybe the government wants to send you a stimulus check for a couple $1,000, and that might kick you into that $6,000 thing and put you in that status automatically. So people, this is unconstitutional. It's crazy. It's against your privacy. And anyone who is for this, you're crazy. And if you think you're not crazy, come on and we'll talk about it.
Man, I'm gonna play this video real fast. Wow, you brought a different perspective on that. I didn't even think of that. Like, man, that is something else. Hold on, let me I'll play this video real fast about what you're saying. Wow, I didn't even think of that. Like they're trying to get that money back they lost from the PPP loans, and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, man, this is unbelievable. Hold on, I'm gonna try to pull it up right now.
People thought
What are we gonna do?
Government.
Huh?
Said people thought they were going to keep getting the government. They get you back.
Yep. Hold on, let me play this real quick.
It was like, hit them back. That's what they or get them back.
There we go.
Can
you hear this?
How much money do you have in your bank account? Well, depending on your answer, under proposed tax reform by President Biden, every transaction you make would be reported to the IRS. This proposed plan is raising some major privacy concerns. 10 TV's Lindsay Mills combs through the testimony to verify what's included in the plan.
Recently, I have noticed some rumors floating around that the Biden administration is trying to pass legislation to force all financial institutions to report financial transactions of $600 or more to the IRS. Is there any truth to these rumors?
Our sources are testimony from the IRS commissioner to the Senate Finance Committee, as well as President Joe Biden's spending plan for fiscal year 2022. Let's break down where this comes from. Back on April 28, 2021, the Biden administration announced the American Families Plan. In it, tax reform. Fast forward now to June 8th, 2021. The IRS commissioner testifies before the Senate Finance Committee on the IRS budget, which includes details of the tax reform proposal as part of the president's spending plan for fiscal year 2022. According to that testimony, the plan aims to, quote, improve tax administration and provide the IRS with a blueprint to address various facets of the tax gap. Here's where we found the answer to Richard's question. Under the proposed legislation, financial institutions would report data on financial accounts. This requirement would apply to all business and personal accounts from financial institutions with at least $600. The measure, if approved, would begin in 2023. So we can verify, yes, under President Biden's proposed legislation, the IRS would have more information on financial accounts with more than $600. Again, it is a proposal, and as it makes its way through Congress, a lot could change. There has been some pushback to this plan. On Monday, U.S. representatives from 9 states, not including Ohio, sent a letter strongly opposing this proposal to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the IRS commissioner, and others. We reached out to the IRS, and a spokesperson responded, "We never comment on proposed or pending legislation." Have something you'd like us to verify? Send us an email to verify@10tv.com.
Hold on, let me get out of there. Give me a second. This is what this is what they wanted, man.
There's a lot I'm thinking about in regards to this. Isn't the IRS in our healthcare already?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, one of the provisions of the Affordable Health Care Act was that the IRS would manage whether they would manage the compliance end of it. So basically, there was a point where if you didn't have it, you were going to get taxed, as a penalty. But they had ended up removing that provision out of it. But it doesn't say necessarily that the IRS isn't still monitoring the healthcare end. Now, anyone who's ever dealt with an audit, here's how an audit typically goes. It's like playing spades. Anyone who plays spades and overbidding, they will, say, you owe us 10 books and you might actually owe 2. But if you don't have the knowledge or the resources to say that you only owe 2, then you got to just pay the 10. So what ends up happening, the people who have access to lawyers and good accountants, they'll end up fine as long as they're not doing nefarious things or things that the government doesn't agree with. But what about the other people? Everyone doesn't have access to these type of things. So they may end up getting told that they owe 10 and they just end up paying 10 when they really owe 2.
Yeah, they definitely will make a mistake.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
You will never know.
Yeah. I know.
Man, that's unfortunate.
They were getting an audit and they walked in, owing $50,000, walked out.
All new tonight at 6. How much money do you have in your bank account? Well, depending on your answer,
Yeah, I'm here. Man, yeah, you spending the knowledge, man. You want to give a
by President?
I keep hearing some background. You want to give some? We have to promote some of these companies on here before we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we were talking about education earlier, I definitely say, let me see on here. Definitely get with Steps of Faith, tutoring and enrichment. they'll be able to, help your children, all the way up to college. They deal with all different levels, but they'll be able to help them with getting their grades up, slowing down any type of drop off that may happen between vacations or summer, as well as get them to be able to move on to the next level. And they offer services in person if you're in the Pittsburgh area, as well as online, and those options are available.
Nice, nice. Okay, so what's the website?
You can actually
On there?
find them on. It's easier to find them on
Oh, you
Facebook.
said Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook. Okay.
find them on
All
Facebook.
right.
Page, same name, Steps of Faith Tutoring and Enrichment Services.
All right. Also, we want to promote one of the best channels out there, William A. Thomas channel.
Yeah,
Let's go.
we're going to be actually digging a little bit deeper into this proposed spending plan, because a lot of people need to know this is going to affect them personally. So we're going to go deep into it. Bring your pad, bring a number, because by the time you get off, you're going to be calling your congressman and saying, "Hey, this is wrong. You got a pound on the door." Yeah, but on there we want to talk about the financial and the business sides of things from a different perspective.
Nice, nice. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that notification bell, share it to your family and friends and people you don't know, because that first segment we had with the teacher was dope. She gave some great information about the IEP and stuff that you need to know if you got kids in school. Also, definitely subscribe to my sports channel. We had a good show yesterday, man. We was rolling yesterday. But definitely subscribe to my channel, Josie Sports Nation. We talk about sports and just a different perspective of sports. You can get the stats anywhere. You can watch ESPN, but we talk about it from another perspective, which I do love. And yeah, that's it. You know, definitely we appreciate people who sent in the Cash App. If you want to send a Cash App in, TNJ Radio, support the channel. And you got anything else to say before we roll?
I mean, definitely a dope show. You know what? This was actually one of my favorites. And anyone who's just tuning in right now, definitely catch the replay. A lot of stuff that's going to be able to help your family, be able to help your kids. Usually, we have a lot of stuff where we're, talking
Having
about
fun.
men, but overall, what we found out is that, hey, if we can help the family, it's going to be able to help everyone. So go ahead, catch the replay, share this video. Don't keep us a secret.
Right, right. And with that, man, we out. See ya another time.